Let me tell you something right now. Life will change the moment you stop begging for people's approval and start learning how to earn their respect. See, respect ain't about being the loudest in the room. It ain't about trying to show off what you got. And it sure ain't about demanding it from people. Respect is deeper than that. It's about how you carry yourself, how you treat others, and the way you stand tall when life tries to push you down. Psychology got a funny way of showing us the truth about human nature. People size you up in seconds. They decide whether to follow you, trust you, or push you aside before you even open your mouth. But here's the good part. If you understand a few simple secrets about the way the mind works, you can shift the game in your favor. You can walk into a room and without saying a word, people feel something about you. They feel your presence, they respect it. And let me tell you why that matters. Respect is like currency. When people respect you, they listen. When people respect you, they trust you. And when they trust you, opportunities start coming your way that you never even imagined. Doors open that used to stay locked. Conversations get real that used to be fake. And your circle changes from people dragging you down to people lifting you higher. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it's possible. Every single one of us can learn these principles, apply them in our lives, and step into a version of ourselves that commands respect without even asking for it. Respect doesn't mean being perfect. It means being authentic, consistent, and grounded. These secrets I'm about to share, man, they'll change not just how people see you, but how you see yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you finally figure out that the key to respect ain't out there somewhere, it's right here in how you live and what you project, life takes a whole new shape. You stop chasing people, and people start moving towards you. Respect is not something you wake up one morning and demand from the world. You can try, you can shout, you can put your foot down and say, "You're going to respect me." But the truth is, real respect doesn't work like that. It's not about demanding, it's about earning. And the way you earn it isn't by flashing what you own, bragging about what you've done, or trying to intimidate people into submission. Respect lives in your actions, in your mindset, and most of all, in how you treat the people around you. That's the part a lot of folks miss. They think power equals respect. They think fear equals respect. But if you look closely, those things don't last. Fear fades, power shifts, money comes and goes. But genuine respect, the kind that makes people stand up when you walk in, the kind that makes people listen when you speak, that's built on character, not demands. See, the funny thing is, people can spot authenticity. They know when you're being real and when you're just putting on a show. And if your goal is to impress, to always try to prove your worth, you might get attention, but you won't get respect. Respect is quieter than that. It doesn't need the spotlight. It comes from consistency, from showing up the same way every time, from being solid when everything else around you feels shaky. People respect someone they can count on, not someone who flips depending on the room they're in. Think about the people you respect in your own life. Maybe it's a teacher you had years ago. Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a leader you've worked with. What made you respect them? It wasn't that they told you to. It wasn't that they demanded it. It was that you saw something in the way they carried themselves, the way they spoke, the way they listened, and the way they treated people. They didn't have to scream, "Look at me." They just lived in such a way that you couldn't help but look. That's the foundation of respect. Quiet strength, not loud demands. Now, I'll be real with you. A lot of people get frustrated because they feel overlooked. They say, "Nobody respects me. Nobody takes me seriously." And the temptation is to lash out, to get defensive, to try to force people to see your value. But forcing it never works. It backfires. The harder you try to demand it, the less people want to give it. Respect isn't about what you ask for. It's about what you model. When you show respect to others, when you give people dignity, even if they can't do a single thing for you, when you carry yourself with integrity even when nobody's watching, that's when respect starts building around you like a foundation. Earning respect means holding yourself to a standard even when it would be easier not to. It means choosing honesty when lying might get you ahead. It means keeping your word when breaking it would be more convenient. It means standing up for what's right even if everybody else stays quiet. Those aren't easy choices, but they are the choices that form the backbone of a life that commands respect. People may not always agree with you, but they'll respect the fact that you stand for something. They'll respect that you don't bend with every breeze, that you know who you are and where you're going. The truth is, your mindset matters just as much as your behavior. If you walk into the world believing you're less, believing you're not worthy of respect, people pick up on that energy. And the opposite is also true when you believe you are valuable. When you know deep down you're worth it, people feel that too. You don't have to brag about it. You don't have to announce it. It's in the way you walk, the way you look people in the eye, the way you hold your ground. Respect flows to people who respect themselves first. And let's not forget, the way you treat others will always come back to you. If you dismiss people, if you look down on them, if you only show kindness when it benefits you, don't expect genuine respect in return. People may play along, they may nod, they may smile in your face, but the moment you leave the room, they won't carry your name with admiration, they'll carry it with resentment. But when you treat people with fairness, with decency, when you acknowledge their humanity, no matter their status, you leave a mark. People remember how you made them feel, and they carry that memory into every interaction with you. So respect at its core is really about alignment. Alignment between what you say and what you do, between what you believe and how you live. When your words match your action, people trust you. When your life matches your values, people admire you. And when you stay true even under pressure, people respect you. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to beg for it. You just have to live in such a way that respect becomes the natural response. The power of it is that when you earn respect, it changes the entire dynamic of your relationships, your opportunities, and your influence. People listen more carefully. They trust your judgment. They invite you into spaces you never thought you'd be in. But none of that comes from demanding it. It only comes from building it piece by piece through the life you live and the choices you make every single day. Psychology has this fascinating way of exposing the truth about human behavior. Most people don't even realize it, but the mind is making decisions long before the mouth speaks. When you walk into a room, people are already sizing you up. They're picking up signals from your body language, your tone of voice, the way you carry yourself, even the way you look them in the eye, or don't. And all of this happens in seconds, before you've had the chance to explain who you are or what you stand for. People have already made up their minds about whether to take you seriously, whether to trust you, and whether to respect you. That's the hidden power psychology reveals. Respect isn't some random thing that shows up after years. In many cases, it begins with the smallest of cues that people instinctively respond to. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who didn't have to say much, but the moment they walked into a space, you felt their presence? You noticed the calm in the way they stood, the confidence in their posture, the ease in how they engaged. They didn't need to announce themselves because their energy spoke first. That's not magic. That's psychology. The brain is wired to make judgments quickly because it's always scanning for safety, trust, and authority. And once people form that first impression, it's not easy to shake. So if you understand how those impressions work, you can position yourself in a way that draws respect almost naturally. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about aligning the signals you send with the person you truly are. For example, your body language says more than your words ever will. If you're hunched over, avoiding eye contact, mumbling your words, you're telling the world you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? But when you stand tall, shoulders back, look someone directly in the eye, and speak with clarity, you project confidence. And confidence, whether people admit it or not, earns respect. Not arrogance, not cockiness, but that steady kind of confidence that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it. Another psychological truth is that people are drawn to consistency. When you say one thing but do another, the mind automatically distrusts you. Respect gets replaced with suspicion. But when your behavior lines up with your words, people's brains register you as reliable. They think, I can count on this person. And trust me, reliability is a rare trait in today's world. Everyone respects the person who delivers on their promises because it gives them a sense of stability. The psychology of respect is rooted in the need for certainty. People want to know they're dealing with someone solid, someone who won't collapse under pressure or switch up when it's inconvenient. Now here's another layer that's powerful. People respect those who make them feel seen and heard. Human beings crave acknowledgement. When you listen to someone, really listen, without cutting them off or rushing to give your opinion, you trigger a psychological response that says, this person values me. And when people feel valued, they give value back in the form of respect. It's not manipulation, it's human connection. The fastest way to lose respect is to make people feel invisible. But when you give someone your attention, when you treat them like their words matter, you're planting seeds of respect that will keep growing long after the conversation ends. Respect also ties deeply into the psychology of authenticity. People's minds are naturally skeptical. They can smell fake energy from a mile away. When you put on a mask, when you try too hard to impress, when you pretend to be what you think others want, people's instincts warn them something's off. But when you're authentic, flaws, imperfections, and all, you come across as trustworthy. Authenticity builds respect because it shows courage. It says, I'm not afraid to be real, and people admire that. They may not agree with every choice you make, but they'll respect the honesty behind it. Another thing psychology shows us is that emotions are contagious. If you're tense, angry, defensive, that energy spreads. People feel it, and instead of respecting you, they brace themselves against you. But when you carry yourself with calmness and positivity, people's brains respond differently. They relax, they trust, they lean in. Respect is tied to how you make people feel in your presence. Do you make them feel small, or do you make them feel uplifted? Do you spread chaos, or do you spread calm? People don't forget the emotions you leave them with, and psychology proves that those emotions shape the respect they hold for you. It's also important to recognize that respect doesn't come from dominating others. That's intimidation, not respect. Psychology makes it clear that while fear may create compliance, it doesn't create admiration. Deep down, people don't respect the bully. They respect the leader who inspires. They respect the one who carries strength without crushing others. That's why the way you treat people who can give you anything in return matters so much. The brain picks up on fairness. People notice when you're kind to the server at the restaurant or when you're patient with the person who made a mistake. Those small acts may seem insignificant, but they shape the way others perceive your character. And character is the foundation of respect. The bottom line is this: psychology proves that respect is not random, it's not luck, and it's not about titles or status. It's a series of signals, choices, and behaviors that people's minds respond to, often without them even realizing it. From the way you stand to the way you speak, from the consistency of your actions to the authenticity of your words, every piece adds up to the impression people hold of you. And when those pieces align, when you live in a way that projects confidence, consistency, and authenticity, respect stops being something you chase. It becomes something people naturally give. Life starts to look completely different when you stop chasing people's approval and begin to live in a way that naturally commands respect. See, a lot of people waste so much energy trying to get validation. They bend themselves out of shape just to fit into someone else's idea of who they should be. They hide their true thoughts. They dress a certain way. They talk a certain way. They even laugh at jokes that aren't funny just to be liked. And for a moment, it feels good when people clap for you, when they say you're cool, when they let you in their circle. But deep down, you know it's temporary. Approval is like fast food. It fills you up for a second, but leaves you empty right after. Respect, on the other hand, is a meal that lasts. It's not about quick gratification. It's about long-term nourishment for your life. The danger of chasing approval is that it makes you a puppet to everyone else's expectations. The moment you get someone's approval, you're scared of losing it. So you keep performing, you keep pretending, You keep stretching yourself thinner and thinner just to hold on to it. But the reality is, no matter how much you do, you can't make everybody like you. Someone will always have something to say. Someone will always find fault. And if your worth is tied to their approval, you'll live exhausted, insecure, and disappointed. Respect, though, is different. Respect isn't about pleasing everybody. It's about standing so firmly in who you are that people have no choice but to acknowledge it. They may not even like you, but they'll respect you. And trust me, being respected is far more powerful than being liked. When you stop chasing approval, you start living with authenticity. People can sense that shift. They look at you and see someone who's comfortable in their own skin. And you know what happens when you're authentic? You give others permission to be authentic too. You create an atmosphere where people feel safe to drop the masks, where they feel inspired to stop pretending. And in that kind of space, respect grows like wildfire, because respect is always tied to truth. Approval is based on illusion, but respect is grounded in reality. Now let's talk about how commanding respect changes the way life opens up for you. When people respect you, they listen to your ideas. They trust your decisions. They want to be connected to you because they know you stand for something solid. Opportunities that used to feel out of reach start finding you because respect makes people want to align with you. You're no longer chasing doors. Doors begin to open on their own. Approval can get you an invitation, but respect gets you a permanent seat at the table. Approval fades the moment you make a mistake, but respect grows when people see how you handle mistakes with integrity. And let's be honest, commanding respect begins with how you respect yourself. If you don't value your own time, nobody else will. If you let people walk over you, they'll keep walking. If you say yes to everything just to avoid rejection, you'll end up drained, and people won't admire you for it. They'll just keep taking. But when you draw boundaries, when you say no with confidence, when you protect your peace, you show people that you respect yourself. And psychology tells us that the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. Respecting yourself sends the message, I am not here for games. I am not here to beg. I am here because I belong. Another piece of this is courage. Approval seeking keeps people quiet. They don't speak up because they're afraid of losing acceptance. They go along with things they know aren't right just to avoid conflict. But when you stop chasing approval, you find your voice. You learn to say what needs to be said, even if not everyone claps for it. And while some people may roll their eyes or turn away, many others will respect the fact that you had the courage to stand up. People respect strength even if they don't agree with every word. They respect honesty even if the truth is uncomfortable. It's important to understand, too, that commanding respect doesn't mean you're cold or distant. Some folks think if they act tough all the time, people will respect them. But that's not true. That's fear, not respect. Commanding respect is about being consistent, about showing up with dignity, about treating people fairly, but also refusing to shrink yourself for anyone's comfort. It's about knowing when to be firm and when to show grace. It's about being approachable, but not a pushover. That balance is what makes people look at you differently. They think, this person has strength and compassion at the same time. That's when respect runs deep. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop chasing approval and start living in a way that commands respect, you stop living on other people's terms. You stop waiting for permission to be great. You stop dimming your light so somebody else won't feel insecure. You stop apologizing for being who you are. Instead, you take ownership of your life, you take pride in your values, and you live with a sense of freedom that no amount of approval could ever buy. The shift is powerful. One day you're running around, desperate for people to notice you. The next day, after you embrace authenticity and self-respect, you realize you don't need to be noticed. You just need to be yourself. And that version of you, that version draws respect like a magnet. That version walks into a room and people pay attention without you saying a word. That version becomes unstoppable because respect is a foundation you can build a whole life on. Respect is one of those invisible forces that can completely transform your life. It's not something you can touch or hold, but when it's there, everything around you starts to shift. Respect creates opportunities in ways you may not even realize. When people respect you, they don't just hear your words. They listen to them. They don't just see you. They value you. And that's when doors start opening. That's when trust gets built. That's when life begins to show you possibilities you never thought you'd have. Think about it for a second. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a meeting and everyone leans in to hear what they're saying? It's not always because they have the fanciest title or the biggest bank account. It's because they've earned respect. They've built a reputation where people believe their words matter. And once people believe your words matter, you don't have to fight to be heard anymore. Your voice carries weight.